Finishing off season 5, but now we can fully focus on Mobile MyTeam.
What? We're flying to Philadelphia! Oh, hell no!
Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new Mobile MyTeam video. Finally, we are back with this series and now we can finally get into the Japanese Grand Prix. I've literally not played on a controller since the last episode and I quickly remembered that we are stuck on a default setup. So here is the championship standings. Ferrari all the way 1 and 2 at the moment. Red Bull are somewhat struggling to find their feet at the beginning of the year, but this might turn into a 2022 situation knowing Ferrari. We're going to go straight into the Grand Prix. No practice, no qualifying, last the question mark challenge, and I do have a reason why I've not really bothered doing Japan around here, but you will find out later on in the video. But for now, we're in for a brilliant, hopefully, Japanese Grand Prix, and I haven't forgotten about the AI on Mobile. Here we go, revving up to 5 red lights here in Japan, and round 4 is underway, and I get a lot of wheel spin. That will be important later, but the start on its own was actually quite good. Going into turn 1, I can afford to relax a little bit with no pressure coming from Zhou Guanyu in the kick Sauber. Everyone gets a little bit bunched up and I decide to completely turn into Zhou Guanyu like he doesn't exist to keep my P18. We now move on swiftly and I tried to have a go at the V-Carb up in front. Remember, they are my rivals in this save. However, they're not the one who are going to be an issue. It's going to be Zhou Guanyu. He's come back for more and spun me around. And that is already a disaster. But I have a very good way to get straight back into the Grand Prix. And all of a sudden, I've gained all the time that I lost there in that lap 1 collision. As we go round the outside of my teammate Albon, fighting for P19. Not quite where Camus thought we were going to be fighting for in the early stages of this MyTeam, but we move on, up into P19 we go, and I've got to say, driving this track is a nightmare on controller. I misjudged my turning point as I didn't pay attention, and look at how much time we've dropped, somehow getting stuck into an invisible wall or some kind of pothole on the side of the track, but we move on. It's now time to lock in and try and catch up to the rest of the field properly this time. And out of the blue, we have a safety car on lap number 5. And that curb was the most unlucky thing I've seen in my life. But we have been saved by the safety car here. So we go straight into the pit lane to use our free pit stop. Meanwhile, Perez has the fastest lap. I don't know how that happened. But moving on, and already we've got a big issue. The safety car is going into the pit lane while we are still about 40 seconds maybe behind the rest of the field. At that point, you may as well throw in the towel. And I knew that Japan was going to be a pretty shocking race because normally you want to have more control over your car compared to using an analog stick. So I knew that this weekend wasn't going to be the best. But surely next time out, we'll do better. Verstappen wins another race in Big 24. Perez finishing behind Zhou Guanyu has to be the most realistic thing I've ever seen on this game. But moving on, Leclerc had an engine failure from pole and Sainz ended up pitting during the safety car. And I don't know what happened afterwards, but he finished in P14. Now, to get down to the bottom of why I'm struggling, I decide to test something and turn both ABS and traction control off, and for whatever reason, that turns them both on. So, I'm not sure why that's a thing, but we've now got the basic setting right, and now we can actually drive on the throttle without feeling like I'm gonna spin off into an ice ring. Yeah, you didn't see that. That was misinput. Moving along though, we're not exactly going to finish qualifying. We're going to finish our lap and make sure we don't get knocked out in Q1. But the AI are very slow in qualifying for some reason. So for that reason, we're going to start 15th on the grid, because that is a more fair reflection on where this car would be if the AI were actually setting their race pace lap times in qualifying. But anyway, moving on. That actually makes no sense. Race pace lap times in qualifying. But anyway, we need to move on to the Grand Prix in China, where the rain is falling, and Charles Leclerc again takes pole position ahead of Red Bull Max Verstappen, looking to take the championship lead. I've managed to qualify myself in P15, meaning there is a small chance that we could get a few points here. Firing lights ahead of the drivers, and we are underway in China. Not the best race start in the world. However, we're going to gain many places by going to the right-hand side of the track. And for a moment, we are in the top 5 before I realise we're on a default setup and decide to think different, nearly spinning into oncoming traffic. We do be joining P9 behind Esteban Ocon, and look at that. I may not be able to turn. However, the straight line speed I have is incredible. For the first time in a long time, we're quicker than the AI on the straights. And now down the inside of Lando Norris, he does manage to stay ahead of us though. And now, quickly, I am realising that the fun we had will not last long. Lewis Hamilton to the outside line, gets the move done on me. And in the car behind, Oscar Piastri gives us a bump off the track and straight back down to reality. And normally, this would not be a problem. However, the new simulation dynamics have made life terrible to try and get back on the track, and I rejoin in P17. However, the race isn't over, and we do have that straight line speed, and we can begin working away, trying to get through the fit. We can still maybe do something down the inside of the Haas of, I believe, Hulkenberg. But we have no turning now with the front wing damage. We get even more front wing damage, making contact with the V-carb. And now it's definitely time to retreat and go into the pit lane. We know it's going to rain heavier soon, and the wet tyres will be needed. And once again, we are saved by the safety car. The gap that was 41 seconds will go down to 5, and we are now straight back in to this Grand Prix. Where is everyone else? If we look at the minimap, we've got a Ferrari holding up a few cars, and oh no. So it turns out the reason why we got up to P5 on lap 1 was because championship leader Carlos Sainz had an engine issue, and that's come back to bite me as he's now holding up everyone, and nobody could overtake because of safety car conditions. So the whole field have ran away from us, and if life couldn't be any worse right now, it's gonna get worse. The track, which was meant to be full wet conditions, is now drying up, and we're on full wet tyres while the AI have a tyre advantage. We're so finished. There is absolutely no point doing this Grand Prix anymore. We're going to have to throw in the towel in 2 races in a row. Into the pit lane we go to retire the car for the second race running. In the end though, Max Verstappen takes another win, and Sergio Perez ends up on the podium, while Lando Norris, I believe, had an engine failure on lap number 12. Unlucky, mate. Carlos Sainz finished the race in P17, probably for pride. But that is the end of today's video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content, and do give me a shout or two on how on earth we're going to catch Haas in the Constructors. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, 'cause we're golden.